All right, dudes and dudettes, welcome back to some more Sink the Bismarck with me, Wolf190D. So, as always, folks, just a friendly reminder at the outset of the episode, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe, follow if you are enjoying the content. It does help the channel grow. It appeases those algorithm gods, and it helps us to get out to more people. I don't know if that's the goal or not. We're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time. History talks, etc., etc. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get back to it. What do we got going on here? You take a small break and everything goes out the window. All right. Let's see here. We got destroyer designs. We got yes. Okay. That is actually what something I did want to accomplish is go ahead and build a new destroyer design. And again, these are just things that I've found over the hours, I guess, of farting around with this. What works? Now, German destroyers can be tricky because they have this little notch out of the bow. Start off historical. Just what do you think was the most intriguing battle in the Pacific theater? Ooh, good question. Man, I'm for some reason I'm drawing a blank on the Pacific theater. It's been a while. I know Midway was really intense. But the whole Pacific campaign was really, I mean, Coral Sea. Like I said, the Pacific theater, I'm a little rusty on, so don't quote me on those. All right, we're gonna make a 1,000-ton destroyer. Try to push for 34 knots. We're going to give them steam turbine engines. It's going to reduce their range by quite a bit. The beam. We're gonna make these guys little rapiers. You know, the swords that were very, very narrow. Those things. Do I know Taffy 3? No. Can't say that I do. Alright, so there's that. Let's go with our trusty 88s. I'm going to put that one there like that. Now here's a little trick that I've taken to doing with the German destroyers anyway. I don't know why, but I like to mount those. I like to mount a barbette up there. Now, how did I want to do this? Go for 4 88s. 88s are about 3.5 inches long. You have to round up because it's like 3.47 or 3.48 or something like that. Let's make the guns as long as possible. And then we're going to go ahead and mount 2 twin torpedo tubes. And I've found through pretty much trial and error that the best way is to mount them all the way to the stern. Mine hunters number 1, coincidence rangefinders number 2. Escort carrier group of 3 carriers and 6 destroyers, but 1 ship in particular is my favorite within that task group. Okay, and I know, pretty much by World War II, battleships were actually obsolete. They really were. I know we're big fans of the battleships. We like the battleships, but they were pretty well obsolete by the time World War II actually rolled around. So, oh wait, I gotta put a rear tower on these guys. Good grief. Okay, I'm gonna put rear tower 3 because it's only gonna help with aiming, and then I'm gonna go ahead and stick one of these barbettes on the back with another 88 on it. Okay, now the forward weight is way out of whack. But let's see here. Max HE, light shells. with, I think, semi-armor piercing was the one that worked really well with the nose fuses. Light shell size, standard ammo, that's fine. Let's go with the ballistite because it's actually reduces the chance of flash fire. Once you get a fire, though, it's going to be a little different. But it's a little bit more stable. I like it. And with destroyers, I know it's a risk, but I really like to do picric acid on the destroyers. Though in this case, it might be better to go with TNT. Yeah, let's go with TNT first and see how that does. 2,500 meters, 1.3 inches of penetration, which gives us really, really good fire. Talking about destroyers, USS Johnson. Okay. And I know the Yamato. Funny enough, you know, the Yamato was eventually brought down by aircraft. I'll go with hydraulic steering, though. The electric steering, no, let's go with hydraulic. I prefer hydraulic steering. It's more reliable. Double bottoms hull, reinforced bulkheads with anti-flood 1, and we're going to go with, let's start off with Harvey armor. Okay, so the main belt, we're gonna go. What's the max we can do? Let's go with a 1/2 inch on the main belt. The forward belt is gonna be 3, and the aft belt is gonna be 1/2 inch. The main deck, we'll go with 1/4 inch on the not 2.2. 1/4 inch on the main deck, 1/4 inch on the foredeck, and the aft deck, we're gonna go with another 1/2 inch. And this is where destroyers really get to be a pain in the pain in the rear end. Ballsy destroyer. Damn, he really did. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, main deck. Nope. More on the main deck means, there we go. Okay, let's see here. If I do that, then I do that. There we go. Now we're starting to get down to it a little bit better. And then if I take this this forward gun, and doesn't really matter if I jimmy it one way or another, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So can I take this? Put that there like that. I really honestly prefer it back here because then it gives that second tube a little bit more flexibility. All right, so we got mine hunters, we got that. No turret armor. Don't really need turret armor. All right. All right. And you know, it's funny. I've actually used destroyers to buy the rest of the fleet time before too. So maximum bulkheads and spacious crew quarters. I always do this with my destroyers because it as tough as it is, it actually does improve their survivability quite a bit. So anyway, we've got some steam turbine destroyers capable of 34 knots, coming in at our max load of 1,000 tons, and they cost 10 million, which is a little bit more expensive than the old ones, but hey, it's a new hull, it's a bigger hull, so we're coming in quite a bit better actually. Why did I get the impression that the V45s were cheaper than the V21s? Maybe the maintenance. No. Wait a second. What? Held a message. Okay. So, gang, this is why censorship is not a really good idea, because and I understand. I don't agree with it. Yeah, no, no, no. It actually held your message, dude, because you used the word cripple. Okay, so anybody who knows anything about military jargon, when they talk about crippling a ship, you know what that means. Come on, guys. Come on. I'm my God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's you know, that's classic. That's classic overzealous censorship AI. Come on, guys. Come on. For real. For real. We need to prevent people from talking about how a ship was crippled. Oh no, I saw that. I saw that. I'm laughing too. I got tears streaming out of my face right now as well, man. It's ridiculous. Come on. And God. Anyway, oh my goodness. All right, so we're about 75 tons under our max weight, which is fine. We've got some room to grow on the V73s here, but all in all, I mean, if for a destroyer, what are you gonna do with it? You can modify these, you can tweak these. Well, armor, yeah, I did put armor. I was pretty much maxed out on the main and aft belt. The forward belt's a little heavy, a little lighter, but that's okay because the forward belt typically, when you're coming at them the right way, it bounces anyhow. But yeah, the armor's done. There's no way to add turret armor. These turrets are unarmored. Casement armor, there are no casements, and then you have the torpedo tubes. Now, things that I have done with these is I've put this gun all the way on the back and then put the torpedo tubes between the rearmost gun. But ultimately, I've found that if you stick it up on a barbette, you get the same field, you get the same exact field of fire, but it allows you to better balance the destroyer. All right. So that's thoughts on that, maybe. Yeah, see, if I add main belt armor, it actually throws the forward weight off even more. So we're just going to leave the main belt at a half an inch, and then be good with that there. If we add any more to the rear, that's just going to do that. And if we add anything to the aft deck, it's not gonna, yeah, it's not gonna balance very well. So this is about as close as we can get it to top dead center. But other than that, these, and I've played around with these. You'll hopefully be able to see that it's actually a quite effective build. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and save that, the V75s, V73s. All right. And we're not ready for the new cruisers yet because, well, we have to discover the technology for that. So the funny thing is she actually took at least 2 hits from the Yamato before sinking, though she was able to cripple and damage at least 2 heavy cruisers in the process with torpedoes. And yeah, that's where, that's again, it's kind of like with land military. Everything has their strength and weakness. Battleships, big bad ships that are able to do tons and tons of damage, and yet a submarine or a destroyer can easily destroy one. And, aircraft too. Though aircraft are maybe a completely different thing because it takes swarms and swarms of them, especially as World War II progressed, and the anti-aircraft batteries on a lot of battleships became really, really heavy. Wow, this destroyer costs more than that Japanese cruiser that I took. But that's okay. That's what you get with the turbine engines. The turbine engines are they're a lot more expensive, but they are ultimately worth it. In weight savings alone. So anyway, let me see here. We've got room. We've got room. So let's go ahead and start building building a lot of these V73s. By a lot, I mean a set, right? So we're going to launch these guys in, I think, Bremen. I like to put my destroyers in Bremen because it's the smallest port and it's kind of right there. Uh, and I do on these kinds of campaigns. I do restrict myself to basically most of my ships are built in you know starting possessions. So yeah, sometimes I'll build ships in Tsingtao, but there you go. All right, those guys are commissioning. We've got a bunch of V-21s in Lerwick, and actually, what we can start doing, what I'm gonna start doing anyway, is I'm gonna start phasing out some of these older ships. So I'm going to go ahead and mothball a couple of these V1s because they're just they're starting to fall behind. Uh, basically, most of my V1s aren't even able to close with the enemy ships anymore. And it's also got a frighteningly large number actually of my veteran destroyer crews. And then we can come up to the top. All right, and we've also got the Wittelsbach class of ships, though the Elsass is still out and about. I'm going to go ahead and set these guys on defend, and then what we're going to do with them, of course, is go ahead and pull their crews as well, because these ships are more than obsolete, obviously, because the last refit date slated on them was 10 years ago. The final battle of the Scharnhorst, and that's I know it's a tricky one. It's German, right? Those crazy Germans in their words. Um, so the Scharnhorst. Oh man. Now I'm starting to feel woefully out of touch with a lot of these things. Um, I could tell you about the Graf Spee. I could tell you about the Bismarck. The Scharnhorst, I just know that the Scharnhorst is credited as having one of the longest range, if not the longest range, hit from the main guns of a battleship in history. Funny, again, kind of a cool fact because the Scharnhorst at the time, actually throughout her entire career, was rocking triple 11-inch turrets. Um, but most, it's the same fate of most of the big German battleships of the time period is that most of them they sank in harbor. Um, you know, World War One era, the same kind of deal. The ships were all interred at Scapa Flow, and instead of having them turned over to the British, the crews decided we're just going to scuttle them. Um, you know, so for those of you that don't know, scuttling is basically where you set charges inside of your own ship, open up all the watertight doors, and skedaddle before you set them off. Um, it's it's a means of just preventing the enemy from, it's like yeah. Oh, King George the Fourth, or was it King George the Fifth? Because the King George the Fifth was also involved in the surface action against the Bismarck. Yeah, it would have been. It would have been. I don't know that there was a King George the Fourth, but I know there was a King George the Fifth. Uh, or as sometimes it's referred to in English nomenclature is the KGV, right? So we've got our battleship there. The British battleship, on the other hand, is a 15,000 ton ship. Actually, he's got a torpedo boat with him, which makes me yeah. And there again, I know enough about a lot of the especially the Kriegsmarine. I know enough. There's some particulars, but there again, the Battle of Jutland, right? The German high seas fleet versus the British fleet, and look what came out of all of that. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and put these destroyers with that guy for now. Um, it was actually the single largest surface fleet engagement in history. Yes, yes, yeah, fleet. You know, it was the largest. It was the largest fleet engagement in history. Never again. And I mean, you're talking about fleets, hundreds of ships. You know, two fleets that had hundreds of ships. You know, if you want to look at the battleships alone that were involved, I think it was battleships, at least on the German side, something like 20 something German battleships, and then the battle cruisers. You know, the British battle cruisers had problems, which was again demonstrated by the HMS Hood in World War II, because the Hood was kind of one of those ships that was supposed to they were supposed to have improved things, but who was it? Was it the British Admiral Beatty, or one of them was, you know, watching the battle at Jutland, and he's like, there appears to be something wrong with our ships today, because the British ships were notorious for basically exploding. You know, so Jutland was undecided. The Germans withdrew, but the British suffered horrendous losses. Um, you know, so it was one of those things. You know, who won? You decide. At least to quote the epic rap battles of history, guys. All right, so we've managed to strike some of those old ships off of our roster. Actually, I don't think anybody's gonna buy them, so let's just go ahead and scrap, because we got new ships coming in that we need to make room for. All right, what's the average training is green, which is better than cadet. Well, yeah, and there again, they made improvements that were at least according to World War I technology would have prevented that, but she took a 15-inch shell that plunged down through her deck, and boom, you know. So yeah, the hood was definitely a bit of a relic going into World War II. You know, and quite frankly, the German targeting system, the German targeting systems were far superior to anything that any other navy really had. Um, but you know, when you put one battleship up against an aircraft carrier and 3 or 4 battleships and a bunch of light cruisers and destroyers, uh, yes and no. The problem with the German battleships was they had the tortoise armor scheme, which actually, if you consider it, it's actually superior at close ranges, but very vulnerable to plunging fire. Which by the time World War II rolled, again, that's what you were dealing with World War II, was a lot of long range plunging fire type of engagements. All right, so we get a nice yeah, we're gonna have a nice engagement here, I think. And I'm gonna see about keeping my destroyers out of this, because I really want to put this carronade type system into proper usage here. So I don't want you guys to scout. I want your guns off. I want you to save. And I'm going to go ahead and put you on follow. All right. Let's go ahead and... Well, that's interesting, considering that the North Sea oftentimes is very, very rough. Yeah, it's actually kind of wild that this ship actually spots its target before it can even, well before it can shoot at it. And the irresistible. Oh, he's got low fuel too. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, because so it's really more like mortars. Now, if this gets too tiresome, we'll just we'll bring the destroyers in. We are closing the gap, though. Okay, do we want to do this? Do we want to do this now? Okay, so now we get an actual test, and we get to see just how well this kind of ship is going to perform. No torpedo detonations. This is why I don't like to put torpedoes on my capital ships, in all honesty. The guns are not terribly accurate, but that's why I put the coincidence finders on there. Wow, he knocked out one of my main guns. It's heavy shells. That's kind of what it is. Okay, so we got 2 operational guns still. He's just got 1. All right. Maybe some minor tweaking to do, but well. Yeah, it was quick and it was brutal. He got a good hit. Hey, he got a good hit on us. He managed to knock out one of our forwardmost turret. But well, Portugal wants one of the Prince Regent Luitpold class ships. No, I'm not. I don't really want to do that. Okay, I can build one of those. Yes, it was a very tasty morsel. All right. So wait. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and bring these destroyers back down here. And these V-21s, I think these are, nope, these are V-45s. Okay. But these guys can move up there. Actually, hold on a second. Oh no, I did that. Oh, crud. All right. Anyway, um, that's an older fleet. I'm gonna prefer my newer ships. Get the upgraded destroyers for now. All right. So let me see here. There's a 21. There's a 45. There's a 45, and there's a 21. Wow, look at that. Okay. And then up here at Scapa Flow, we got 21s. So let's go ahead and take these guys and move them up there. All right, and then we're gonna move these 21s down to Accra. Start dispersing our older ships to less important areas. That poor guy. I mean, really, he really is a poor HMS Irresistible. He was not going to have a good day. Let me see here. So the Nassau's are 2 months and another 2 months for refits. Let's go ahead and suspend this one. We're gonna go ahead and open up this one, and we'll open up the one at Wilhelmshaven as well. All right, so that should give us. Yeah, no, and honestly, it is something to consider when you're building ships. Is you don't want them to be too slow. And that's why I like mixed forces, because then you can build battleships that are, you can build specific battleships that do what they're supposed to do, or you can build like what I did with this carronade type of ship. At least the idea was to have something to just give more so zone control than anything else. We'll see how it pans out. Yeah, we're at about 11,000 tons. So, let's see here, V45s. I don't think we're going to need to update the V45s because, excuse me, the Princess Wilhelms. When did I design the Princess Wilhelms? 1895, really? Kaiser and Augustas. And we haven't done anything with those since 1890. Yeah, they're getting to be too slow. And I think that hull actually is obsolete. Well, and that's, see, I build, so it's really weird because I'll build battleships, and I usually build them in 4s and 5s. I mean, because in part for me it's sticking to history, so you build them in 4s and 5s to make a task force. A heavy cruiser that I usually like to put with my battleship forces is really strictly actually as a small weapons platform to keep off the destroyers and stuff. Light cruisers, much the same idea, and then destroyers for scouts and, quite frankly, assassins. I do like to use I do like to use my destroyers as sort of assassins, if you haven't noticed. Um, so yeah, because they'll run out and really hurt the larger ships. All right, so oh, man. Should I try a naval invasion on Scotland? I need 364,000 tons. Battle cruisers, those are a little different. Battle cruisers I'll use again as I tend to make them faster. I tend to make them have longer range, and still the traditional heavier battleship type armament. But again, those are like heavy zone control. Like I'll put a pair of battle cruisers with maybe a light cruiser and a couple destroyers out to control entire zones, sea zones. They're really good for convoy raiding. They're really good for port raiding. They're really good for they really are even effective sometimes at dealing with enemy task forces. It just depends on the setup, but they do need to be fast. They do need to be faster. Or do I want to come down and try to invade the English Channel? It's a 60,000 tons, and this is almost 80,000. I'm going to move him over here. I'm going to swap these two task forces. Uh-oh. Well, we are pushing into southern England. Yeah, that's what I'm really leaning towards right now, and I mean because we are starting to make headway. There, I'm just gonna leave a fleet. Okay, actually, no, don't pull him then. Well, that means him. I'm gonna want to pull this guy over here somewhere. Move him in there. And I mean, this fleet already has 32,000 tons, so we're gonna pull him up over into this area right there. All right, the light cruiser made it there. He's already got the 45s, right? Yes. Okay. We'll position ourselves. And in the North Sea, we've got 238,000 tons. I really want to leave him there. We're commissioning the Rhineland. Did I get the names right on the Nassau class? Yeah. Nassau, Rhineland, Posen, Westfalen. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. And then we've got this janky little experimental ship as well. All right, so I'm going to leave him there in the English Channel because I think he can handle. If I need the extra tonnage, I'll bring him, but 80,000 on top of that is going to be 320,000, give or take. Let's see. He's only capable of 19 knots. Ah, yes, this one. The cormorants. The cormorants I'm also going to go ahead and mothball, but I think I can sell those. Okay. Let's come on down here real quick. And then there's 2 destroyers that are there as well. These guys have very experienced crews. Anyway. Ambush. We might have time for one more. Okay, yeah, we're wow. 2 battleships though. They're all 21s, I think, except for the V-14 there, and that's unfortunate. Around 1904, I'd have to check on the exact numbers. You know, funny enough, really what I would really like to no, 1914. There again, I'm not sure of the exact numbers. I know they were trying to keep pace with the British. But anyway, yeah, let me go ahead and hit this ambush. I'm going to go get a refill on coffee real quick while it loads. So, be right back, guys. Alrighty. Right. Hey, don't be dissing my coffee addiction. I'm gonna detach this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and slow him down. We're gonna slow him down. Him. Oh, hello, there we are. Jackpot. Let's just slow these guys down. Wow, did that just happen? Good Lord. Whoa. What? He just jacked me with that 12.3-inch gun. Good God. Let's see if we can't. No, it might not. But there again, like I said, my destroyers were aging. And not like a fine wine. Oh god, that's a little too fast. Jesus, what is it with his battleships and having like 30 torpedo tubes? Nah, they're like little barracudas. Ah, one of those torpedoes was a dud. I hate dud torpedoes. Dud torpedoes, they need to die. Oh, there goes the Anson. BB Anson sinks. Too many torpedoes. And lots of fire. Oh, oh no! I'm not gonna be able to get on him this time. Not with this one. This one, no. Oh, one of them did a little bit of damage. The other one was a dud. Oh, crap. Crap baskets. Oh, wow, I ate one of them. We ate one of them. Well, we didn't lose any ships. Good lord. Again, it's why you don't send battleships out by themselves, especially in destroyer-infested waters. They're like little piranhas when the cow goes swimming in the deep part of the pool. Yeah, they really are. And there again, once you get the range up, you get the maneuverability on them going, then they become a lot nastier. So anyway, do we have 364,000 tons? The Rhineland is commissioning. It'll be available next turn, and that's going to be another 19,000 tons. I think the other two should be along in enough time. So let's go ahead and get this party started. End our turn and see where we're at. Oh, research. Yeah, keep it on the small guns. Cruisers, on the other hand, we're going to 6,500-ton light cruisers, which is still relatively small, I think. Torpedo protection number 2. Anti-flood 2 also coming up in the near future. And we should theoretically be in the Mark III 2-inch guns. Let's go ahead to the next turn. More with this. The problem is, of course, is that the battleship's got 1 destroyed turret. Unless it's been repaired. Yeah, I need to push for the heavier, the better heavy cruiser hull. Either that or just use one of the like the Armored Cruiser 2 hull and build something on that. I don't. They're too tall. They're very unstable. The early German cruisers really kind of suck. They really do. They're kind of garbage. Like a stopgap, but there again, my thought with that too is, well, by the time I get to building one, it'll already be I'll already have the better one. So it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. And that's kind of the part about this design is you have to make it more durable, which I guess the weight savings from the weapon type you can use to make for better protection. Yeah, I know. Dilemmas are, well, they're dilemmas. And see, that's what I had done with these guys, was I put the other 88 directly on the tail end of it. Cadets. Got to get better crewmen. It really is imperative to get better crewmen. Battle cruisers are sometime after the Dreadnought 3 hull. I'm not sure exactly when. Pretty sure it's on the hull strengthening line though. Poor TB Swordfish. Poor little fella. Poor Wickle guy. Oh boy. We're not gonna have a good time here if he gets hit with those 12 and a half. Really only gonna take one to ruin our day. Alright, time to open it up. And let the fish fly. Oh no, we're gonna hit our own torpedo. God, we're gonna get hit by our own torpedo. that sounded painful. Oh, that just sounded pain. I'm sorry I missed it, but that sounded painful. The crunching metal and everything else. Hey man, my destroyers were out on a mission, and yes, he got in the way. So sorry, but not sorry. Everybody wants the V-73s now. What have I done? Sure, let's go ahead and build one for the, well, they don't want the V-7, they want the 45s. Quad guns have their use. I don't mess with them too much, to be honest, because quite frankly, I find the rate of fire and the accuracy on even on the twin turrets to actually be really good. However, I have used triples. It's just, and for me, that's a big thing. It's rate of fire and accuracy are two of my primary concerns when I build ships. So, like sometimes even in the early game, sometimes I'll stick with, like, for the secondary guns, I'll use single barrels over double barrels. Sometimes it depends on what I want to do. But more often than not, I'll stick because it's not so much. And there again, you kind of have to do the math, because if it's like if it's slightly lower on the 2-barrel gun, well, you have to keep in mind it's firing 2 barrels within that amount of time, right? So it really depends. But the quad guns, I'll use them the most. All right, the most I use the quad barrels is for the really small secondary guns. Like if I want to make a battery of 50 millimeter guns, sometimes I'll make those quads. Actually, sometimes I even tone it down to like 47 or 37 millimeter. You know, and that just gives you a ridiculously high volume of firepower, especially up close. And that's usually what I use it's usually what I use those for. Quad and dual 7-inch guns. And the mixed turrets like that actually are not unheard of. I know that much, that the mixed turrets like that are not unheard of. Now, how so? Because the quad barrel gave you weight, but the twin barrels gave you more accuracy and sustained fire. I'm actually curious about that, because again, I tend to do more uniformity, and that's why I'll stick with like 4 twin barrels. I mean, you know, if it worked for the Bismarck, why not? Um, and I understand the differences, because it actually gives you, as opposed to the 3 triples, like a lot of ships started to be built in World War II. The 3 triples gives you a lot of weight of fire up front, and not to mention the full broadside weight also is slightly heavier. You know, you get an extra barrel. Okay, that's great. Um, the 4 twins though gives you a much more balanced field of fire. You know, it gives you 4 forward and 4 aft. So it really depends on your ship. I mean, hell, there were some ships that were built with all the turrets up front. Apparently, it saved a lot of weight on the ship when they built them like that. He has to go here. Yeah, the Nelson. Yeah, the Nelson and the Rodneys. You know, they were the treaty battleships. They did that. They did that in an effort to save weight. Makes sense, but what if you have to? You know, what if you have to get? What if you have to get out of combat? Um, the problem there then obviously becomes that you have no firepower on this off the stern. Um, So and there again, this part of what I really want to do here is actually start to experiment a little bit more. Um, oh God, the Yu Ying. I hate no. No, I'm not. I'm not. That. Why Portugal bought a ship from China? That design was crap. No offense to China. The design was crap. With a name like Yu Ying, well, it's not one of mine. Actually, rarely do I sell battleships to other powers. But Portugal's buying one of my good ones, so hopefully he'll scrap the Yu Ying when he gets that. Finances. No, we got about 14,000 tons. We don't have the tonnage. Don't have the tonnage. Okay, all of those 45s are coming in, and now everybody's buying 73s. So look at that. Syria's bought one of them. Portugal's bought one of them. Portugal also bought some of the 21s, which, the 21s aren't terrible, but they're starting to get older. Portugal is being a very good trade partner. They're buying a lot of our stuff. So, hey, I'm not going to knock Portugal. It's just I guess they were a trade partner with China before they got off of that and signed on with Germany. Ha 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 ha. So, let me see here. What did I say? I have 14,000 tons. Should we build a stopgap? And we're at 11,000 ton heavy cruiser. It obsoleted the armored cruiser 1. What do we have access to? We got light cruiser 3. We got armored cruiser 2. Semi-armored cruisers. I really don't even like the semi-armored cruisers. I find them to be very sluggish. They just really the only time I really mess with them is to build a mine layer for like a port, because you can put a lot of guns on them. They don't have to go fast. You can put a lot of guns on them, and then load them up with mines. Whatever. The problem is that our light cruisers are also starting to become a little dated. We have hull number 3, but that's what the Ariadne here is light cruiser hull number 3. Maybe I just wait until hull number 4. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, hell, can I get by with battleships and light cruisers for now? Probably. Anyway. All right. Anyway. It's probably going to be about it for today, gang. As always, if you are enjoying the show, as it were, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, follow. Commentary also is always appreciated, especially for those of you on YouTube. Comments. Get a discussion going. We like discussion. We like history. Questions are always accepted. Well, so long as they're relevant to the task at hand. I'll never forget, Jesse Ventura used to say that his Navy SEAL instructor used to say that there was no such thing as a stupid question. Please don't put that to the test. I know, some people try really hard to do dumb stuff. Well, I guess you give them an A for effort, or an F for effort, one of the two. So anyway, folks, as always, thanks for stopping by. This is Wolf 190D signing off.